Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about teaching you how to create print-on-demand designs using Canva. So if that is something that you're interested in, please stick around. So in today's video, we're going to be going over how to create this design right here. This one says, "Hello Summer." It is very similar, kind of a throwback to one of the first videos I ever made, which went over how to make a very similar design that said "Hello Winter," and what we were really just doing was showing you how we can use some simple text effects and simple graphics. This one went a little bit farther and went ahead and threw a clipping mask over it to get that nice sunset kind of a look. So if this is something that you would like to learn how to do, please stick around. So right now I am on the Canva homepage, and so this is where we're going to start, and I am going to do a very simple step-by-step kind of remake of a design that was one of my first videos. I think it was the second video I ever made talking about, how to do different text effects. And so we are going to do a different version of that. So the original version said "Hello Summer," "Hello Winter." This one is going to say "Hello Summer," but it is going to be essentially the same thing, but I'm going to show you how I would do it now, and hopefully it makes it really easy for anybody who's a beginner designer to make this kind of design. So starting on your home page, I'm going to go ahead and come to custom size. I'll click that, and I'm just going to go ahead, type in, it'll be 4500 by 5400 pixels is what we're searching for. I'm going to use my recently used. And so here it's just going to pull up my nice blank page. From here, I'm going to go ahead and start with a black backdrop. So I'm going to, click on my backdrop, go to the left-hand corner where it says background color, and I'll click that. And then I'm going to go ahead and select black. So now I have my black background color. This is what I'm starting with. And so from here, we're going to be making a circular design, and we're going to put some text in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my outside circle, because that's going to dictate, kind of how big everything is and how big the inner text needs to be. So the outside circle, I'm just going to pull up a text box by hitting T on my keyboard. And I am going to do this in all caps. And I'll pick a font in a little bit, but the outside, I'm just going to put some words that are associated with summer. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with maybe sunscreen. Sunscreen. And then I'm going to go ahead, do a little space, do a little dash, another little space, and then go with my next word. So beach, dash, space, dash, space, right? Waves, space, keep forgetting the space, dash, space, right? Sand, space, dash, space. What do I got? Bikini. Maybe bikinis, plural. What else do I have? Vacation. Space, dash, space. And one more word. What do I got? Maybe sandals. Okay, so there we go. I've got words. I'm going to stretch this out so it's really big. And then what I'm going to be doing with this is making this into a circle. So what we're going to do is take this, go up to the top where it says effects. And if you come down, you'll see shape and curve, and you can hit curve. Now what you can do is take this curve and make it all the way into a circle. Now I can make this into a full tight circle like that. I want to leave a little bit of space. So what I did with the original design was have a little bit of room around the circle to put some sort of a graphic. So I'm thinking something like that. And so this is just where I'm starting so that you can see how this goes. And then I can go ahead, I click on it, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate this, because I'm going to want my little graphic on the side to be kind of right on the left-hand side. So I'm going to make this opening on the left. Then I'm going to take this, I'm going to make it nice and big. So I can click it and drag it out, make it nice and big so it fills up most of the page. Again, don't worry about it filling up the whole page. Make sure you've got some room on the sides. Once it's all done, we can group it together and we can make sure it's centered. So if it's not centered right now or something doesn't look right, don't worry, you can always play with it after the fact. And so that is one easy thing that you can do, is just always play with it after the fact. But there we go. So now let's go ahead. I'm going to put a little graphic here. So I'm going to fill the side with a graphic. So I think I'm going to use a palm tree. So we'll go up to the left where it says elements. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little search for palm tree. Oops, palm tree. Still in all caps. And any palm tree will do. I'm going to go with the silhouette style like that versus a color style, but you can do it however you want. I'm looking for something that has a little bit of a curve. So as we can see, this is a circle and I want it to kind of have a curve that looks like it's finishing out the circle. So something like this one here. And let me go ahead and change the color for now to white. That one gives it just a little bit of that kind of curved look, like it's trying to finish out the circle. So maybe something like that. You can see how that would look there. I can bring it down, I can bring it over, I can play with the angle, all of that, but that's a good one there. And of course you can look, see if you find any other ones. This one's a little bit flat for the side circle, so you can see if you can find one that curves even a little bit more than that. If you do, great. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and stick with this one for now. Otherwise, I will spend way too much time looking for a circle, but you get the idea there. So now what we're going to do is put some text in the middle. And so again, I'm going to hit T on my keyboard. Oops, sorry. Make sure you click outside there. Hit T on your keyboard. It's going to pull up a new text box. Here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put capital H, lowercase E-L-L-O, so hello. I'm going to go ahead and do this in 2 separate lines. So I'm going to add one more text box. Click anywhere outside your main circle, hit T on your keyboard. I'm going to do capital S-U-M-M-E-R. So hello, summer. And it's going to be inside like that. So now we can already kind of see the way that this is going to look. So now we're going to pick some fonts. And so what I want to do is pick a font that I think is going to be really fun, that is going to, you know, be big and take up a lot of the space. So some of the fonts that I like have huge first letters to them. It would be some of the script fonts. And so if I go to font and I do a search for script, oops, I can search through just script fonts and I can scroll through and see if there's any that I like, anything that works well. Some of these have some really big flowy ones like that, and so I'm looking for something kind of similar to that. The ones that I have used in the past, let's see if I can find them. They're usually pretty obvious. These ones right here, the Amsterdams. So the Amsterdam ones usually have huge first letters, right? So something like that. I like those. Here's 4. I don't know why it's not with the rest, but Amsterdam 4. Yeah, that's the one that I liked right there. So here is my Amsterdam 4, and I had it filling up most of that. And then for the summer, I think I also did Amsterdam 4. Let's see. Yes, I did. And I'm going to make that nice and big. Let's see. Maybe not quite that big. So I had these so that they were slightly overlapping like that, which I thought looked pretty cool. And I can sort of play with the positions a little bit too. So maybe, oops, taking this top one, moving it over a little bit. So I'm using the keys on my keyboard right now to make these little movements. So the keys on your keyboard that are like up, down, right, left, if you click on those, you can move whatever graphic you're on or text box or whatever, 1 pixel at a time, left, right, up, down. And so whenever I want to make little adjustments and maybe my mouse isn't cooperating with me, I literally just start hitting those arrows on my keyboard to make those little micro adjustments there. So that looks pretty cool. It says hello summer, very stylistic. I've got the circle around it. I've got my palm tree. It's not the best palm tree. I'm sure I could do a little bit better, but for now you get the idea. I can also put in some little flourishes here. So for this one, I wanted to make it a little bit more fun. Maybe I put in some starfish, something that says beach. Oh, so there's a starfish. Maybe I find a cute starfish graphic that I like. And so again, it depends what you want to do, if you want it to be colorful or if you just want it to be black and white. So you can go kind of anywhere you want with this. might go ahead and try something like this one here. This is going to allow me to change the color to white. And I can shrink that one down a little bit and maybe put it here, maybe angle it a little bit, make it a little smaller. So something like that. And again, I can always play with, use my arrow keys to play with it too. And sometimes you'll find that you have difficulty selecting certain things because right now we've got a lot of layers and these text boxes tend to kind of get in front of everything. So it's really hard right now for me to select my little starfish. If that happens, you can just take any of these boxes and move it to the back. Now there's a few different ways that you can do it and it's changed over the time, but if on your computer you hit Control and then the left bracket, it will send whatever you have to the back. Or if you hit Control and your front bracket, it will send everything to the front. Sorry. So you can do it that way. And so now I can grab hold of this and that's pretty easy to do. Now at this point I can change the font too, by the way. So I kind of like this. It's pretty simple and I might actually just keep it. I could even make it a little bit bold if I wanted to. And so something like that, if I wanted a thicker circle, I could do. But you can definitely play with the fonts if you want to. Keep in mind that if you play with the fonts, for example, if I do that, I now would need to make my circle either tighter or make some spaces in between, or make it bigger, make it littler. So it may be advantageous to you to pick what you want for a font for a circle first so that you don't have to play with your circle later. And so, I mean, right now, if I wanted to play with this, you know, no worries. I can make it a little bit, you know, bigger. I'm gonna have to make it bigger first because then I'm gonna have to go to Effects and I'm gonna have to tighten my circle up again. So something like that. And so I can do it that way. But I actually liked it better the way that it was before. But you can see how you might have to play with it as you change your fonts around because it's going to change the spacing of the letters and everything like that. In the first video that I did with the Hello Winter, I also showed you how you could change some of the spacing of the letters too. So if I went up to the top where you see spacing and I clicked that, I can move that letter spacing around. So I can make that circle, you know, a little bit wider like that by changing some of that spacing. And if I did it that way, now I would have to, again, make the circle a little bit bigger, open up the circle a little bit with Effects. And so you can see how you might have to play with this to get it, you know, to fit the way that you want. So I do recommend getting your circle done first, as opposed to doing, you know, everything and then trying to fix the circle, because now I'm having to play with the position of everything and the angle of everything. And now, you know, this isn't angled right and that isn't angled right. And then this thing doesn't fit right. Now I'm cutting out the edge of the paper. So you can see how it can be a really big pain in the butt to kind of change everything after the fact. But it can be done. You know, no problem. You can definitely do it. It's just it takes a lot more work. So if you pick what you want initially, make that circle, you know exactly what you're working with. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go back. So whenever you've messed up or you're like, oh, I don't like that, you can always hit the back button here. So up here, your little undo, Control Z, back button. I can hit that as many times as I need to until I get back to where I was, which was right about here. Ta-da! And so I liked that a lot more. And so that's easy. Let's see if we can add a few more flourishes here. Maybe a star, maybe a hibiscus, or sorry, not a star, flower, hibiscus. Sorry, it's already been a long day. And so here's a nice hibiscus, and I can go ahead, I can make it white too. I can, once I'm on it, move it around, shrink it down, put it wherever I want. Maybe I want to put it here. Something like that is kind of cute. I've seen some that I could do with some little suns or whatnot. Depends how busy you want to make it, but there you go. Really easy. Hello Summer. From here, if I want to change these to different colors, I can. So if I want to go ahead, change this font color maybe to a teal, I can do it that way. If I want to change the tree color now, maybe to a greener color. I mean, it depends how brightly I want this to be. Hello Summer, you know, I could make that more of a sandy color, something a little bit sandier than that. Something like that I could do. Come up here, do the same thing for my Hello Summer. I could make these two different colors so that you can actually see the difference between the two if I wanted to, or even just sort of change the shade a little bit more orangey, like that. Depends how you want to do it. So I can make those two slightly different shades. I can change the color here, change the color here. So you can play with this however you want. Lots of fun ways I can do this. And now if I want to, I can also go ahead, take this whole thing, I can group it together, I can now move it around, I can make it bigger, smaller, however I want by having it grouped, so you don't have to move things individually. Be aware when you're designing circles like this, if I center the design, let's say I try to get the design centered, my circle will now not be in the center of my page, because the palm tree sticks out. And so that might look funny. But if I center the circle in the middle of the page, oops, well, that was a bad example because that didn't quite work. But now my palm tree is going to be sticking out and it's going to look like it's closer to the side. So decide how you want to, how you want this to look. Typically you'll want the circle to be centered, and so even if this sticks out and it's really close to the edge of the page and there's nothing over here, usually in the circular designs you want the circle to be centered. And so don't worry if the palm tree sticks out. It's going to be better to do that than to move the whole thing over to the right so that you have equal space on the side and then your center looks off, or your circle looks off center. So just be aware when you're designing that way, you know, that you do want the circle to be nice and centered. And so something like that. We could also take this whole thing and do a clipping mask on it, and that might be something fun too. So if I wanted to do any kind of like sunset style clipping mask, I could easily do that, and that might look cool versus just having individual colors, which again, I can also obviously do, just have individual color things here. If I showed you that. I mean, so there's my design just like that. But if I wanted to, you know, obviously change the color of each thing individually, I could. And so you can see how you could easily, you know, just play with it. You know, I'm thinking just to show you guys, maybe we will go ahead and put a clipping mask on it, just because I think, you know, it's cool to know how to do and to have your options. And when we have options, we can put up multiple versions too. So if you've got lots of slots to fill and you want to put up different versions of the same design, having options is always a good way to go. So you could put up just a white one, you could put up a colored one, you could put up one that has some sort of a clipping mask over it. And so we've got lots of different ways we can go with this. So let's go ahead. I'm going to change the title up here. I'm just going to go ahead and put Hello Summer. And we'll put frame. And we'll go ahead and we'll do a clipping mask just to show you. So let's download this, make it a transparent background, and we'll download it as a PNG. And then we'll go ahead and find a nice sunset style mask that we can put over this. So let's go back up to elements. We're going to search. Let's search for like sunset gradient backdrop or background, whatever you like. And again, we can do photos, we can do graphics, we can look through both to see if there's any kind of sunset gradient that we like. I've used this one up here before. I really liked that one because it was nice and bright. Here's one that I almost like better. Ooh, I do like this one. Let's do this one. Okay, I found the one that I want. I'm going to hit Control right bracket to bring it to the front because it needs to be in front of everything. When in doubt, need to make it nice and big so it covers the whole design there. Okay. If I want to make sure that I can, you know, see through it, make sure I get everything that I want, I can come up to transparency, bring the transparency down so I can see how that will look. I do like it. Let's see if I can make the circle a little smaller because I want it to fill. Oops. I want to get as much of the colors as I can top to bottom. It's not going to be perfect because the palm tree sticks out, But if I can get as much of the colors as I can, from yellow all the way down to that blue, I think that's going to look the best. So come back up. The transparency is just this little checkered box. So if I click that, I'm going to get rid of the transparency. And we're going to go with sunset mask. Sunset mask. There we go. And I'm going to download this. This one doesn't need to be a transparent background. You can just download as is because this is going to be my mask. And then what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to Photopea real quick just to go ahead and put the mask on it. So I'm going to open a new page on my computer and I'm just going to type in Photopea. Oops, I didn't even spell it right, but there you go, Photopea. Click on Photopea. This is totally free, easy to do. So this is the page you should come up with. If you click the middle button, it'll say open from computer. Your downloads should pull up. You should be able to select your Hello Summer frame from your downloads and click open on that, and it should open that up for you. And if you give it a second, there it is. So there's my frame, and now what I want to do is just put my clipping mask right on top. To do that, if I go up to the top left-hand corner, you'll see File. Click on that about 3 spaces down. It will say Open and Place. Click that. It'll pull up your downloads again. You can select your sunset mask. Hit Open. Give it a sec. It's going to pull your mask up. Your mask should be right above your background in terms of your layers here, and it should be the one that's highlighted or selected. And then from there, you go to the top where it says Layer. Click that. About halfway down, you'll see it'll say Clipping Mask. You're going to click that. And there you go. It's automatically put my clipping mask on there. And I actually really like the way that that looks. I like the clipping mask. So we'll go ahead and we'll go up to the top left-hand corner where it says File. We will hit Export As, select PNG. You give it a second, it'll open a box for you. Here's where you can rename it if you want to. So right now it's Hello Summer Frame. I could put Hello Summer Sunsets. And it is still a PNG, it's still 4500 by 5400. All I have to do is go ahead, hit save, and it will save it. And then from there, just jump right back over to your Canva page. And so that's all we needed Photopea for. It really was that fast, that easy, and that free. So I do love to use it for clipping masks. And so I can get rid of that. I'm going to keep this version here because I may still want to use this version for other things or play with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add one more page. And then I'm going to go over to the left-hand side of my page where you see uploads. I'm going to click that. We're going to go ahead, hit upload files. It should pull up your downloads. And from there, you should be able to download. Okay, there we go. And so now I can go ahead, select that, close this, and there we go. So here is our design right here. Make it nice and big. I'm gonna try to center that. Now I do like to use these rulers and guides that I have on the top and side of my page. I did have somebody who asked how to get them. I've shown it before, but if you don't know, if you go to the top where it says File and you come down to where it says View Settings, it'll say Show Rulers and Guides, and just click that, or you could just hit Shift-R on your keyboard and it should pull up these rulers and guides for you. Now these are convenient because they can help you to center things and to make sure things are in the proper alignment, etc. So for example, if I centered my, I put my center line here, boom, right there, I can now see if my circle is more or less centered. And so it is. And so again, your palm tree is going to stick out a little bit, but as long as your overall circle is more or less centered, that's what you want. If you're not sure, another way that I like to do circle designs is to hit C on my keyboard, because that will pull up a circle. And then I can take this circle and sort of lay it right over the top and make sure that my circle is centered. And so that will show you where the circle is centered. And so that looks pretty good. So then if I just make sure that my bottom design is lined up with that circle, then I know that it's centered. And so my circle is centered, and so now I know that my circle text is centered, and then from there I can just get rid of that. And I can pull the line off too. So now I have a perfectly centered circle. The palm tree sticks out a little bit, but that's fine. I've got my awesome Hello Summer design. If I want it to be a little brighter now, I might want to go ahead and do some photo effects on it. So I can click on it, I can hit edit image, and then from here I've got sort of my adjust features, my brightness, contrast, saturation. There is a new photo editor, so this is the classic one. It looks like this. That's what I typically use, but if yours does not look like this, no worries, you're probably on the new one. If I go to the new one, I'll just show you real quick. This is the new photo editor and what it looks like, so it looks a little different. You can switch back and forth between the two by going to the bottom, putting click here to use the old experience. If you're on the new one, you'll go to the top and move over to the right where it says adjust. And here you can go ahead, there's a lot more adjustments that you can do. And so, but I can still use the regular highlights, you know, brightness, that kind of stuff. So I can make it nice and bright. I want it to be really light because I'm gonna put it on a dark shirt. I do want it to pop, right? And I do want it to, be pretty saturated. So here's where I can play with things like vibrance and saturation and really make it pop that way too. And so that looks pretty cool. You just want it to be bright. You want it to stand out there. But you can play with some of these as much as you like to try to get that overall, you know, pop. And so there is my new take on my Hello Summer design. Just so you guys can see, I'll pull up my old one here. Let me go up to uploads. And I do save most of my designs so I can find them. And I had Hello Winter. And so this is the Hello Winter design that I had made in a prior video. Oops, let me shrink that sucker down. And so I'll just add a page, make it easy. And so this is the design that I had initially shown people how to do in an earlier video. And so very similar style design, circular design with the text in the middle and the little combination of elements and text. And so we went from that one there, which looks pretty cool, to this one here, which has that nice summer vibe to it. And so you can, again, you can do these for different seasons. Obviously, I could do Hello Fall, Hello Spring, and use the same, you know, general kind of design style. And then of course I could go up here and I could make it all white. I could do it with different colors. So many different ways that you can go about doing this. And of course it doesn't have to say Hello Summer. You can put anything you want in the middle, but I do like just the general style of this design. I think that looks pretty cool. So anyways, that's it for today's video. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment section below. I will try to get back to you as quickly as I can. If you have any requests for other videos, you can drop it in the comment section below. I can try to add you to my list. Again, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're selling well, and I hope to see you guys again. That's it for today's video. If you found this useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.